What's up everyone, D.dot here, and today I have a new deck to share with you guys. I went 12 and 2 in this challenge with this deck, and this deck is catered more to challenges than it is to ladder, so I just want to make that note there. However, this deck carries the tools that you need to counter most decks within the current meta, and it is a fun deck as well, especially when you pull off these hog predictions, but we'll get into that later in the video. However, as I just mentioned, that this deck is catered towards challenges more than it is for ladder, but I have been using a ladder variant of this deck, and if you guys are curious about that, just let me know in the comment section down below. So this deck is a control deck, so it's a defensive oriented deck. And one thing that I do want to stress to you guys, especially since it's running Hog Rider, is that it is not a hog cycle deck. So that means you're not trying to place your hog as fast as you can to outcycle your opponent's counter to your hog. That's not what this deck is about. It's more of pressuring with the hog and then countering on defense. So the cycle for this deck is very important to note as well, because sometimes you'll get cards to where you're like, I'm not too sure what to play. So if you have Hog Rider and then you have like Executioner or Guards or Archers or even Tombstone in your hand, always play your Hog first. That way they react to the Hog. They'll drop their troop, and the troop will walk by and come to your side. Then you use whatever cards you have to counter those troops. So you don't want to place your defensive troops to counter your opponent's troops first. So play your hog first and then use your troops on defense. Also, the guards are good at defending in graveyard. They are good at countering the Night Witch before it pops into the bats. Guards are good to counter everything that is a single attacking troop, not the splash damage troops. You can surround Bowler, you can surround Executioner and Wizard with proper placement, but for the most part it stops most of those troops that only target one troop. So this match that you're seeing in the background is the 12th win challenge, the 12th match that I won in that challenge. He was running a little odd deck. It was like a clone spam Night Witch with giant skeleton, but it wasn't too big of a deal. So we went over the guards and the Tombstone in this deck. So we'll go over the Executioner and Tornado. Executioner and Tornado are great in terms of defending. They can stop pretty much any mid to small size troop in the game. If they are behind a tank, you can use the Tornado to pull all that stuff together, and then it takes out majority of the supporting troops behind the tank. Then you have your Tombstone and Archers to help clean up. Executioner, I don't recommend playing him behind the King Tower until you know what spell your opponent is running. You don't want to place it behind your King Tower and they use lightning or they rocket the Executioner. Your Executioner is very important in terms of defending, so you don't want to give that up. Tornado, very great at countering Hog Rider, great at countering Lava Hound, Balloon, and paired with Executioner, it stops Lava Loon pretty much in its tracks. It stops Hog Rider, especially when you're running Tombstone. There's just so much functions that you can use. You guys know you can activate the King Tower, you can switch lanes, or you can force your opponent to switch lanes. So next we'll go over the archers. Archers are great at taking out those small to mid-sized troops. They're good at pulling knight to the center and having both archers and the towers take out the knight. They're good at countering goblin gang, minions, minion horde, sometimes, not all the time. They're great at pulling troops to the center, like I just mentioned. They're great at countering Night Witch to pull her to the center as well. They're only good in terms of defense whenever they're taking out all those troops. So, the two spells, the Rocket and Log. Rocket, you can use Fireball or Lightning instead. However, I recommend Rocket because with Rocket there's so much more versatility there. With Rocket, you can deny your opponent's pumps, you can take out the Three Musketeers split, you can rocket Expo, you can rocket Mortar, you can rocket Balloon, you can rocket Hog if you need to. There's so many things that you can rocket, that you can use Rocket for. If they place Executioner in the back of their King Tower, you can rocket that. They place their Bowler back there, Musketeer back there, Ice Wizard. So many troops that you can get a lot of value from. And then don't forget too, there's another lethal combo that you can do with Tornado and Rocket. So say if Lava Loon, the Lava Hound, and Balloon are coming towards your tower, you rocket, you have your archers down, it's shooting at the Lava Hound. You use your Tornado to pull everything back, then you use your rocket, it will take out the balloon, and whenever the lava pups spawn, your archers will take them out, or even if you're using Executioner with Tornado. So you have that defensive parameter with your Tombstone down, your Executioner, or your archers with your Tornado, or if you need your spell. It's very tough to get through this deck if it's played correctly. However, this match in the background is a ladder match, but like I said before, it's a little difficult to use during or in ladder matches, simply because you don't have that high DPS in this deck. So we'll go over the Hog Rider now. Hog, as you guys know, it's very easy to use. Always place it on the farthest right or farthest left tile, so that way if they misplace their building, you can pig push through it. However, the synergy between the Rocket and Hog is surprisingly a lot better than what I thought. With this deck, in terms of offense, using your Hog Rider, you want to make note of what they use in terms of how they counter your Hog Rider. So if they have Inferno Tower, or if they use Cannon, or if they use Tombstone, or if they use Barbarians, or if they use Mini P.E.K.K.A, any of those things that they use to counter your Hog Rider, always take note of that. There's so many times that I have gotten prediction rockets on their Inferno Tower placements, or Cannon placements, Tombstone, Barbarians, everything that I've mentioned before. I've been able to predict their troop placement or building placement with the Rocket. The Rocket takes out their troop or building, and the Hog gets connected, or he gets connected to the tower. And it's just so fun and it's so rewarding whenever you get those prediction rockets down with your Hog. So to pull that off, and this is very important in terms of offense, like I said earlier, this is a control deck, and with control decks you don't have that offensive firepower as you do like with beatdown and stuff like that. So whenever you play your Hog Rider, as we mentioned earlier, to pressure your opponent, always make sure you make note of what they use. That way when it hits double elixir, that's when you use your Hog Rider and then you use your rocket. If you have to prediction rocket in the center of their crown towers to counter their Inferno Tower, make sure you do. Or if they use barbarians or mini P.E.K.K.A, make sure you place it in front of their crown tower. That way you get the damage on their tower and you take out the troop. It's so much fun, but like I said, that only works if you make note of what they use to counter your deck, or your Hog Rider, I'm sorry. So in this match here, this is the Vietnam deck, or the bridge spam deck. Sometimes they'd use pump, or some variants use pump. So as I mentioned earlier, guards, tombstone, executioner are going to be your staple cards to counter this deck. And this deck uses poison more often than not. It may use fireball, I'm not too sure, but I know for the most part it uses poison. So that means you're free to use your executioner in the behind your king tower. But with the guards, whenever they place bandit up front, use your guards to place right in front of the bridge. That way the bandit's not able to charge her charge attack. Your tombstone will always be used to counter their battle ram. Archers are there to clean up. Executioner counters Night Witch. Also, guards can counter Night Witch as well. So you have tons of options that you can use. However, I did mess up right there. If the Executioner did not target the Night Witch, it would have targeted the other two troops and I would have lost that tower. But no matter. As you guys can see right there, guards shut down the bandit. And then I had the archers clean up the other troops attacking the king tower. So, as you guys can see, make sure you keep the guards in hand, your tombstone in hand, for when they play the right cards. This is what you have to do, simply because the amount of reaction time that you have to counter your opponent's troops whenever they place it on the bridge or in that pocket, you have to be ready for that. So as you guys can see right there, this deck the Vietnam deck does not run any buildings, so the Hog Rider with the rocket was able to take that tower. It killed the Eye Dragon and it got the damage to the tower with the Hog Rider getting through. So we're getting into overtime right here. Like, it's rinse and repeat. That's all you have to do. Make sure you have the correct cards available. That Hog with rocket again took out that Night Witch, and if that rocket was able to have that Hog Rider get one swing to the tower, I knew the poison was coming, so I put the tombstone right up front by the bridge. They placed the band in the pocket, use XE and guards to counter all those troops right there. We have Tornado. Tornado works wonders against clumps of mid troops, such as the troops in this deck. Now I know I just need to get a few more chip damage in, then I can start rocket cycling. Same thing, counter their troops at the bridge, have Executioner to clean up right here, jump in with the Hog Rider. So this deck, like I've mentioned, it's very good at countering. Same thing, use the appropriate cards to counter. All I'm trying to do right here is just keep chipping his tower away. We have a minute and 30, just about. Hog gets 2 swings in. The guards get 1 chip damage in as well. So all I have to do is keep defending, keep cycling my spells. I just have to cycle log one more time, then I'm able to rocket the tower to win. Like I said, keep the appropriate cards in hand. Clean up with the Executioner. I use the rocket. Have to cycle one more time. And then it's good game right here. Like I mentioned, this deck is very good at countering the Vietnam deck. But if you guys have any questions on how to use it or whatnot, let me know in the comment section down below.